Welcome back, and today I'm going to do lemon squares. Let's get started with the crust. Okay, I've been having a taste for these, and I did find this really nice looking lemon at the store, so I'm like, okay, good time to do it. All right, so for the crust, I need a stick and a half of butter. So I have one stick, and then I'm going to cut the second one in half. And I have let it set on the counter to soften up a bit. So this is 3/4 of a cup. So this is a half, and then I'm going to cut this in half. That's a quarter, so that's 3/4 of a cup of butter. And I always use real butter. Put it in here. And if you hear a little noise in the background, I am preheating my oven to 350 degrees. Okay, I'll set this aside, and that will be for something else. Okay. All right, so now I need a cup and a half of flour. Okay, I like to put my flour in these containers, makes it way easier to measure. Okay, so when measuring flour, you want to level it off. I use the back of a knife, butter knife. So 1, and I have my half cup. So 1 1/2. And now I need a half a cup of powdered sugar, and make sure it's powdered sugar for this particular crust. And when measuring the powdered sugar, I also need to level it off. That all together. Now for this particular crust, I'm going to use, since it's crust and not dough, I'm going to use a pastry blender. Now if you don't have a pastry blender, you can use possibly a couple forks. You don't want to overmix it. You'll see when we get to that point. So I'm just going to keep on mixing this, and I'm turning the bowl at the same time when I'm mixing. And as I said, I did leave the butter on the counter a little while just to soften it up. You don't want to microwave it. Just leave it on the counter for a little bit while you're getting out your other ingredients, and it probably will be enough time. If it's winter, maybe you need a little bit longer, depending on the temperature of your house. So I want to get this nicely blended. So this is a unique crust because we did put powdered sugar in it, so it's a little bit different. So you can't just use any old crust. This one's specific for these lemon squares, this particular recipe. Okay. Okay, I'm going to continue to do this, and I'll be back in just a sec. All right, so now I'm going to show you what this looks like. I've been mixing it for a little while, and I'm going to, oh, there's my oven, and I did heat it to 350. All right, so see, that's what it looks like now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hands, and I'm going to kind of just work the crust to where I kind of have it in a ball. And I'm going to do a close-up in a second. Let me just get this to the point that it needs to be. And then I will show you how it looks close up. And I'm not going to butter my pan because I'm going to move this camera a little bit. I'm going to try to adjust this so everybody can see what's going on here. As you can see, so you know it's done, or getting very close to being done, when you're like going around and it's actually, the glass bowl is getting cleaned. So just working it a little bit longer, so it's almost looking like a dough. The other reason to use that pastry blender, if you have one, or a couple of forks, and opposed to a mixer with a dough hook, is we want it a fluffy, flaky crust. That's what we want. We want a flaky crust. So we don't want to use the mixer to do this. Okay, so this is looking very good. Okay, see? Rolling it in a ball. All right, so that's what we're looking for. Oh, it's therapeutic too, good for your hands. Kind of fun. All right, now let's get a 9x13 glass tray, and I'm going to just simply press this in the glass tray. It's going to be a thin crust. And you've got to be patient. It's going to take a while to get it to lay down flat. Start kind of from the thicker part and just work your way. Making progress. Hope everybody's having a good day. I'm going to continue to just press this down and we'll check back in just a sec. Okay, so I'm almost done. Need to make sure I get in the corners. I'm moving it from the thick part to the thinner part. And when I put this in the oven, we're going to have to really watch it close. Now, I'm kind of going around and just making it also look nice. Get it all in the corners. Sometimes when you bake something or cook a meal, it's about patience. It's not that it's hard, but you have to be patient and not to rush it, because if you rush it, it's not going to come out right. So right now I'm just trying to make sure that I'm taking the parts that feel thicker and pushing it into the parts that are thinner. And as I said, I'm really going to have to watch this, because what we want to do is we want to cook it and it should not be browned. So we're just slightly cooking this crust. So it's going to be tricky. We're going to have to keep a close eye on it. I mean, personally, I think what I'm going to do is probably set a timer for maybe 3 minutes even. And depending on everybody's, and it's only 350, but depending on your oven, really depends. Sometimes I've had recipes that I've cooked in one oven and then we replaced our oven because it broke with another oven, and the cooking time changes. So definitely makes a difference. Makes a difference what elevation you live in. Sometimes you have to cook things a little bit longer. So, okay, so now just working this a little bit, it's getting a little bit softer and easier to, the more I work with this, the easier it's getting. All right, so this is starting to look pretty good. This is the way you want it to look. It's looking pretty even. So as you notice, I'm just leaving this flat like this. I'm not trying to do edges, just flat down. And let's put it in the 350-degree oven. I'm going to set an alarm for 3 minutes just to kind of keep an eye on it because I want it a little bit cooked, but not completely, because we are going to put it back in the oven when we put the filling on top. So we'll see you soon. Okay, so my 3-minute timer is about ready to go off, and I'm just going to peek inside the oven. And it's not even close to being done yet, so I think we're okay to start the filling. I'm going to set another timer for 5 minutes after this one goes off, and I also might take that crust and move it to the higher shelf. I think that's what I'll do. Okay, so I moved it to the higher shelf. Now, for the filling, when I pull that crust out of the oven, I need to, while it's hot, put the filling on top. So we need to get going on this. So I'm going to cut this lemon in half, and this looked like a really good one at the store, and I have a feeling it is, and I'm smelling it and it smells delicious. Okay, so I have one of these just handheld, it's not electric, citrus squeezer. So I'm just gonna go ahead and, I don't really want to get out the electric one. This is way easier to clean. This does catch the seeds, so that's good. So the juice of 1 lemon, which is approximately 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. But you're going to want to really, if you're going to go ahead and make this, you should really just get a fresh lemon. And then you can use all the juice of the 1 lemon. And that's good. It's going to make it taste better than if you got the juice that's already prepared. Nothing like fresh lemon juice. And it smells very good. Let's see how much we got. All right. That might be a little bit more than 3 tablespoons. I'm not going to measure it. I'm just going to use the juice of the lemon because that's what I always do. And it was pretty juicy. And then we need, we're going to put this in a regular mixing bowl. We need 3 eggs. Down a piece of the shells. Okay. 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to slightly mix these up already. And then I'm going to put this in here, 3 eggs, juice of 1 juicy lemon, and now I need 1.5 cups of regular sugar. So now this is just your standard granulated sugar. Okay, I need a different measuring cups because the other ones are full of flour. All right, so let's level this off. Measuring granulated sugar, you also measure it off, or white sugar, whatever you want to call it, just the plain sugar. And now for the half part. And the other thing we need is 3 tablespoons of flour. Okay, so we need to level off the flour as well, and we need 3 tablespoons. So 1, 2, 3. And while I have the camera on, let's go peek in the oven just to see how things are going. And it's looking good. It's still a little moist on top, which is fine. So we're we're making progress on that. And now we're going to go over to the mixer. I'm going to use this type of beater. You don't want to use this type because that's for something light and fluffy, sauces, egg whites, that sort of thing. And this is for like cookie dough, or if you're making bread or pizza dough or something along those lines. So let's get this all nicely mixed up. I did set a timer for another 5 minutes. Okay, let's start mixing. Okay, let's check it out and see how we're doing. Somehow something looks a little blurry. Okay, there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape down the sides. And we're going to mix it longer. Way, and then I'm going to make sure there's nothing stuck to the bottom. All right, let's mix it for just a little bit longer. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think it is done. Looks like everything's nicely mixed. And we're just gonna check on the crust again and see how that's looking. All right. The crust is getting very close. Okay, I think just in a couple more minutes we're going to pull that crust because we need to put the top filling on and have it be not browned, but have it be nice and hot, and then we pour the top on. So back shortly. As you can see, the crust is kind of, it's not 100% done because we don't want it 100% done because it is going back in the oven. And we have our lemon filling here. So we need to pour this evenly across here. So I was thinking I might need a ladle, but I'm just gonna maybe just kind of see how it goes. So it's going very nicely. I might not have to worry about that. Well, I think I'll use the ladle. I feel like I have a little bit more control. At the end, I'll just pour it in. So we want to get it all over here. And then when we put it back in, it's still at 350. Now we can just pour it. Okay, so oven's still at 350, probably another 20 minutes in the oven, but we will check on it in 10. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes. Let's just take a peek and see how we're doing. All right. Looks like it's looking pretty good. Still need another 10 minutes for sure, and we'll check back soon. So let's take a peek. I know we're getting close because I can smell it. And let me pull it out for a sec. house smells great. And it's kind of like bubbling up. And we're getting very, very close. But I think a few more minutes would be a really good idea. So I'm going to do that. And also just to mention, so we're at 20 minutes now. But of course I've been opening it up so I can show everybody. So that probably adds a couple more minutes. And we live at a higher elevation. And that will definitely add time. And if you live in a lower elevation, you're likely that it will go ahead and get done quicker, and maybe you won't open up the oven as much. But I wanted to show you the inside of the oven so that you can see how it looks as it progresses. So we'll check on it shortly. All right, so I pulled it out of the oven. It's looking good. And now, so when you pull it out of the oven, while it's still warm, now it's time to sprinkle powdered sugar on top. And my daughter got me this. I'm going to show you the inside. Actually, I'm going to scoot this over in case it explodes. So this is a little powdered sugar dispenser thing. Well, if I can remember how I opened it. There we go. Okay, so you put the powdered sugar in here, and then you line it up over here to close it. There we go. And it also comes with a nice lid. So this will make sprinkling the powdered sugar easier. If you have an old sifter, that works well too. So I'm just going to start at one end and work my way. And you want to do this while it's still warm, because that powdered sugar is going to sink in too. And as you can see, the edges are like browned a little bit, which is going to have like a caramelized flavor to it. And this is looking good. So now, let's see how, well, that looks good. Okay. Okay, so the two hardest parts about this particular recipe. The hard part was I had to find my juicer. That took a while. So if you know your juicer is, that's always good. If you have very strong hands, you might be able to just squeeze that lemon. The other hard part is to go ahead and let this wait and let it cool down so I can safely taste it without burning my tongue. So we will be back for the taste test. The house smells great, and I can't wait to do the taste test. All right, time for the taste test. I want to show you what this looks like on the inside. Let's try it. That is so good. Our filling is scrumptious. It tastes that real lemon juice makes a huge difference. And then the crust is just very light and flaky. Oh, here, let's see if I can show in the camera. See the layers of flakiness. So good. It's going to be hard to just stop at one, I'll tell you that for sure. Absolutely delicious. Very easy recipe to do. I hope you try it. Be sure to use the real lemon juice. Thank you for watching. For those of you who subscribe to my channel, I really appreciate it. And if you don't, it is free, and I hope you do. And I hope you like this video and share it with a friend. And have a great day. Thanks for watching.